and I'm going to start the recording. I wanted to have some fun with us this morning, and because of some of the work that I've been doing recently, I wanted to give us some thoughts and ideas about your resume and why your resume is so important and how a well-worded resume will work exceedingly well, and a poorly worded resume will guarantee that you don't get that second call. All right, so the resume is critical. So I'm calling this exercise Making the Cut at Papa Giuseppe's. So as we're doing this, the point is not having to do with pizza, but we all know it has to do with cybersecurity. But I'm going to say pizza. So that no names are given out during this. But let's say we have Papa Giuseppe, and he's there in his wonderful pizza kitchen, and he's nationwide selling pizzas galore, but he needs a new pizza. He needs somebody to design their next blockbuster pizza. All right, and I'm doing this for a reason. As we're looking at this, the words that you use are going to be critical in your resume. And then that's another reason why you should be reviewing your resume at all times, and try, and I'll share this near the end, one of the last slides, try and make sure that you don't have one resume that you try and fit into every single vacancy announcement that's out there. Don't do one. Do a resume for a particular specialty, like Samson was mentioning. I'm not sure which specialty I want to go into. Well, prepare one for offensive and one for defensive. You might also prepare a third for like information assurance or risk and governance, like Nikkia was saying. Think about how your skills would fit into any of those various areas. Don't try and take one, and I'll say, here's your square peg, trying to fit it into a round hole here and a round hole there. It's not going to be as effective as a focused resume. So here we are. Papa Giuseppe talks about, for the specialized experience, I want someone with experience in new pizza design. Okay, it's very specific. So the first thing you need to do when you're looking at a vacancy announcement, ask yourself these three questions. What specific experience is the announcement asking for? What do they want? You've got to understand that in order to set your resume to where it resonates with that. The second question, what of my experience will satisfy these requirements that are stated? And then your third statement, what resume experience that's in my resume might satisfy? Okay, so think about those three things. When you see a vacancy announcement, compare it against your resume. These are what you should be looking for. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to go through a number of experience statements, and I want you all, if you don't mind, I want you all to share whether you think that this meets the specific experience of experience in new pizza design. I'm doing this on purpose. So here's one. I operated pizza restaurants. Is that going to work? Anybody? If you need a new pizza, there you go. If you need a new pizza designer, a pizza person who has operated restaurants may not be what you're looking for. It may be your forte, but it's not what they have asked for. Next one, I supported pizza design teams. So that makes you at best an assistant. You supported pizza designers. Why would I hire an assistant when I'm looking for my next miracle worker? Here's one this is one of my pet peeves. because I've read thousands of resumes. Responsible for corporate pizza design. How many of you have responsible for in your bullets? And here's the challenge. I've gone into interviews with many people, and it says, in my resume or whatever, I'm responsible for this. And I get a little bit testy with them and say, okay, you were responsible for doing that. Did you? Because being responsible for does not state that you're experienced in. I'm responsible for filing my taxes on time every year. Did I? See what I'm saying? So remember, in your statements, you should make them based on what you did do, not what you were expected to do. All right? I do not like when I see responsible for in resumes for just that reason. I was responsible for this. Yes, but did you do it? Okay? Next one. I'm certified in pizza design. Does that mean you have designed pizzas? For those of us that are getting our certifications in things like Security Plus, does that mean that you've done the work? No, you've learned how to do the work. Chris?
I would say depends. Depends on what the certificate is.
Right.
I would opt for certificates unless it's directly asked for.
Right.
Or if you want to put more value into your resume.
Yep. At best, this supports your experience, but it is not experience. Here's another one. I generated pizza design reports. No.
Still not design.
Right. Installed and configured pizza ovens. I'm good at making pizzas, but no, it doesn't fit. Provided technical support and maintenance to pizza design teams. Again, I fixed their computers, or I got coffee, or, whatever. They're looking for, remember, the experience requirement in the vacancy announcement says experience in new pizza design. This is not experience in new pizza design. You worked with them, you worked around them, you supported them, but did you design pizzas? Okay? Here's, just the ultimate. I have a BS, an MS, and a PhD in new pizza design.
But did you design a pizza?
Maybe. Oops, my camera just stopped. Can everybody still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep going then. My camera just went away. All right. So, extensive experience in new Euro design. You have experience. It's not a pizza. Why would Papa Giuseppe want Euros? So think about it. If somebody asks for A and your experience is in B, be careful that you do what you can to try and word B in A terminology. All right? This could have been a little bit different experience in maybe meal designs or specialty meal item design or something like that, instead of just saying, well, this is what I do, and you'll accept it or you won't. Okay? Okay. I recommended improvements to the pizza design processes. That's not pizza design experience. Okay? Is everybody catching on to this? Is this helping you understand what we're trying to do when we put our resume together?
Scotty, I understand what you're trying to do. And maybe I'm thinking ahead to your next few slides. I'm seeing this as, hey, the announcement sits there and says, we want somebody who can design pizzas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I see in the industry is these announcements will sit there and say, I want a wish list, 100% of what I want, okay?
Yep.
And one of the things they ask for is, can I design pizzas? Okay, well, can you cook? Do you know what temperature the stove has to be for the pizza? Do you know what ingredients or what particular menu items are in Giuseppe's Pizza? What I'm saying here, and I'm trying not to trash your presentation, but at the same time, I want to make it more productive. I think it's more expansive to sit there and say, hey, what are my transferable skills to say I have the ability to design pizzas. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you sit there and say, here's what we want, design pizzas, and be restrictive from the employer point of view, you're just going to have a tough time finding somebody who's going to be your unicorn, to me,
right,
as the employer.
Right. Yep.
Well, sorry, I'm thinking freely.
No, that is an excellent point, Chris. The value in this is to start primarily answering what they've asked. But I fully agree with you. You can add to that with additional statements. But if you miss the main thing, you may end up missing the opportunity, because one thing to remember, when you're going through the resume process, you're sending your resume not to the hiring manager, you're sending it to the HR department, and the HR department may or may not know about pizza design. So what they do is they look directly at the vacancy announcement, and they look directly at the resume, and they say, does this person do this? And so the challenge is HR does not know about pizza design. So you've got to make it through that first stage before you can talk to somebody who says, oh, I really want your other experience as well. Yes, Chris.
I will accept that response, but I don't want to hijack the meeting further for that, because we could go hours on end about that. Okay, go ahead.
All right, fair enough. Thank you. So let's go down to, let's see, this one. Here we go. Experience in new pizza design. That is an absolute 2 thumbs up. That's what they were asking for, and that is what will satisfy their requirement for experience. Okay? So the point in all of this, let's go through this. Here are some tips that I recommend. Number 1, examine the vacancy announcement and understand what they're asking for. Okay? Number 2, match your resume verbiage, what they say and what you have done, as closely as possible. And oh, by the way, that means you have to review your resume every time you put it against a vacancy announcement. And that's why we always recommend more than one resume. And the last one, this is just my recommendation. Put your power first. Don't make them have to search. You know, I pushed shopping carts at Walmart. I mowed people's lawns. And oh, by the way, yes, I am a CyberSecurity Sensei mentee. No, put what they're looking for high up on your bullets. Bullets don't have to be arranged in what you did the most to what you did the least order. And remember, Chris and I always say this, if you've done it once, you've done it. That is experience. So make sure that the person who's reading your resume doesn't have to search for the things that they're looking for, because you already know what they're looking for. You've seen the vacancy announcement. All right? So don't make them search. Put your heavy stuff up front, even if you only did it once. Okay? And a little bit on embellishment. I'm just saying this personally. I lost my camera again. Embellishment means that you're overstating something. For example, if you've watched a lot of YouTube videos on something and then say you've done it, that's called embellishment. And in many hiring situations, people tend to embellish, and in some cases, they've been caught at it and they get fired. Not something that you want to happen. So don't embellish. Be as descriptive as you like, be as verbose as you like, but be aware, don't say things that you have not done. All right? I just had to say that, in case somebody says, well, they want 14 and I've got 2. Can I, fake it? No, you've got 2. All right? Making sense? All right, so this is the main thing that I'm trying to recommend to everybody. Make sure that the resume is as close to the vacancy announcement as you can make it. Don't take one resume and try and apply for a variety of different jobs and think that it is going to be successful. You will increase your chances of success the more you focus your resume on that particular vacancy announcement. So I have another recommendation. Find vacancy announcements. Samson, you were talking about various career fields. Find vacancy announcements for the various areas within cybersecurity that you're interested in, and then write your resume and arrange it based on what that vacancy announcement is. So you can say, here's my resume for a pen tester. Here's my resume for a cybersecurity analyst. Here's my resume for a SOC analyst, etc. And then also, when you find a vacancy announcement that you think you want to apply for, you have already started to focus that resume. If it's a SOC analyst vacancy, you can say, here's my resume, and then just do some minor trim before you send it. Okay? Do the work ahead of time, not when, the clock is ticking. Frequently, a vacancy announcement will be announced, and because there are so many applicants, they'll say, we're going to stop this after the first 100 applicants. So that is not the time to be working on your resume. That's the time to trim it up based on the vacancy announcement and get it in fast. Okay? And this also, as you're looking at it, you look at the vacancy announcement, you look at your resume, you'll be able to see things that you might want to start working toward so that you can make that resume more fulfilling for that specific job. Okay, anybody have any questions, comments?
I have a quick question, Scotty.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the resume, you mentioned we don't have to put a non-technical experience like pushing the carts, working in the Walmart. So if, for example, if I have a customer service experience, so I'm looking for a job in a cybersecurity analyst, and does I put my experience in my resume or not? It is a non-technical. I have a technical experience also too. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. I'm not saying to not include it. What I am saying is to rack and stack it so that the reviewer will see the things they're looking for higher up on the resume. Don't bury your skills down at the bottom because you've done them the least. That's what I'm saying. If you're looking for something in particular, move that as far up on the resume as you can so that the reviewer doesn't have to search to find it. Yes, Chris?
So if you see the announcement, Harvinder, that says, we want somebody with excellent customer service skills, you can sit there and say, customer service, dash, I push carts for Walmart, I work the cash register for Walmart, I make sure I greeted employees with a smile. I got awards and accolades from Walmart for excellent customer service, that kind of thing. So if they list customer service as number one, you can list customer service as number one, and then provide the example of what you have as excellent customer service. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you. Got it. Got your point. Thanks.
And we'll share at some other point the differences between a federal resume and an industry resume, because the differences are very big. To take a resume that you have done out in the industry and put it up against a federal job vacancy announcement, it could very well fall short. In the industry, and I'll do this very quickly, in the industry, they want you to condense it down to 1, maximum 2 pages. And the reason is, according to LinkedIn surveys, the typical hiring manager spends 7.5 seconds reviewing a resume. That's a resume out in industry, though. In the federal government, I've reviewed resumes that are 15 pages long. So there's a big difference between the two. But in each case, in every case, what we're doing here will work for both. What they're looking for and what you bring to the table should be easy to connect. And by the way, the person who's reading your resume is the final decision, you know? So, Samson, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I would say for me, I struggle in this area. For example, I'm trying to switch career now from compliance to cybersecurity. This is what I've done under the compliance way, and then I want to tailor my CV based on different job vacancies, as you've explained. But I've done certification, and which you said that is not an experience. That could just complement what you have done, but you don't have an hands-on on that. So within that, my struggle here is then I have done this. I'm trying to tailor this to this job vacancy, but without not lying that I've used these specific tools, or if you get what my point. But it will probably look like the CV is going to be somehow similar, the same, because those are the areas you've really done, which are not related but could be a transferable skill.
Go ahead, Chris.
Samson, my guidance for you, because I've been in that position before. I was a analyst before I was an IT person, and sometimes they don't connect with each other very well. One of the things I suffer from was, and you can probably catch it with my questions to Scotty about the resume, is I have to fit every single dot in order for me to feel that I'm qualified. If there in that one dot that says 5 years, but I only have 1, if not 0, I would say even, and I put the 3 levels of experience down in our chat, even if you have knowledge of that, that counts as experience to some employers. And I will say with you, because you're trying to transition careers, even if you fit 10% of the dots, go ahead and apply for it. Make them be the bad people and say, no, Samson, not it. Okay? But you'll learn something from it, and you'll continue to grow with that experience with years so that you can fit that dot. But I'm going to say don't try to fit all the dots. If you can fit, like, if there's 10 dots and you can fit 1 dot, go ahead and apply to it with the resume that says, I fit that dot. That is my guidance.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Even if it says 5 years and you have 1 year or 0, say, I'm interested in it, and I'm going to count that as less than 1 year.
Right. Nikkia, do you have any... I'm sorry, go ahead, Samson.
I feel like the CV can give you a much way to express in words, and I don't know sometimes I support my CV with my cover letter just to express more of what I'm trying to get into in this job. But yeah, I guess it's just best to probably have that cover letter with the CV just to support. But most employees or most things, you would see some comment and they tell you most people does not read the cover letters. They're just particular about your CV, and that doesn't even give a chance for them to even read that.
Yeah. Cover letters can be helpful, but I've actually seen this in a cover letter. They put the specialized experience requests and said, you've asked for this, in my resume you'll see this. You've asked for this, in my resume you'll see this. And they've literally hit every step of the experience requirements in the cover letter and said, you'll see it over here, you'll see it over here. This is what I've done, you'll see it over here. And it actually makes you, as the reviewer, it makes you like, oh, this is going to be a reasonably good resume because I've already seen the highlights. They've given me the highlights. So yeah, that a cover letter may be valuable, maybe, but I have also seen very poorly worded cover letters because they say, oh, I'm a resourceful team player looking for, opportunities in this career field to help me advance my career. And it doesn't say anything. It does not put any energy in, I want this job because I think I will do well at it and you will benefit by me being there. So be aware that those cover letters are less than worthy. They will not provide value unless you put something in there that someone is looking for. Don't just do it out of habit. Okay, Nikkia, did you have anything? I saw your comment. If anybody missed that, Nikkia said that we're doing well. But did you have anything else before we finish?
These are actually very, very accurate and spot on tips and tricks of the trade, if you will. But these are the small changes in just how you think about your resume and how you craft and develop your next resume or revamp your resume that will make the multitude of difference going forward. So no, these are great.
Very good. Thank you. All right. That's all I had for today. I hope everybody enjoyed this, and everybody should be going back and looking at your resumes. Give some time to it before the next vacancy announcement drops and you have no time. Okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a great Saturday and a wonderful weekend. Thanks again, Nikkia, for joining us.
Thank you, Nikkia.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Ms. Nikkia. Y'all have a good weekend.
Bye,
Weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you next week.